You were never afraid of the dark. Even before you had the words, you felt the pull. A call from the void. Something deeper than thought and older than memory. So you followed it. Inside, it all came rushing in. Numbers, symbols, patterns. The cosmic code revealing itself in waves. Not to confuse you, but to remind you. You've seen this before. You've read this language in another life. Your mind began to understand. But it was your heart that truly remembered. This is what decoding really is. Reuniting the thinking and the feeling, the logic and the soul. This is how you wake up. And when you do, you are not the same. You carry light codes now. You move differently. You speak in frequencies because you remember who you are. You decode to find your way home and to help others do the same. This is why we decode. Hello, beautiful souls. It's Dr. Danny, physician, astrologer. How's everybody doing today? Oh my gosh, I can't seem to get my shit together on this. There we go. Can you guys see me? There we go. All right. Good. I'm so excited to be back. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, channel members. Shout out to all you guys supporting my work. Today is Moon Day, 7/7/25. What a special day, right? 7/7. Everybody can relate to that. Today, I have a very special presentation for you. We're going to talk about the next full moon coming up on Thursday, July 10th. This moon is not going to be in Capricorn, not yet. It's going to be in Sagittarius. If all of you are sort of feeling lighter and happier right now, this is the reason. This lunation is peaking in Sagittarius. It feels pretty good. But the moon and the sun being on the Gemini Sagittarius axis also offers us an opportunity for a wake-up call. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I did a little decode on this moon and a rooster showed up through the numerology. So I will explain all of that and show you guys what that means. And I think it's super interesting. So before we get into the numerology, the astrology, and the alchemology, I will do the full moon, all the aspects, all the energy as I see it. And then before that, we'll do just a short reflection on truth, because Gemini and Sagittarius are the axis of truth and knowledge, truth and wisdom, and how we get to a place of truth. Let's see. We are simulcasting today on YouTube, Facebook, and the Fellowship of 13 Sign Astrology. That is our Facebook group for our community. So if you're new to the channel and you want to hang out with us when we're not live, come on over there. It's a very lively group. We have a lot of fun. So I enjoy interacting with all of you, and I hope to see you over there. I want to do a couple of announcements before we get going. The big one, the big announcement is that today is not the day that Uranus ingresses into Gemini. It is not today. So when the tropical astrologers are telling you that Uranus is moving into Gemini today and it's at the critical degrees of Taurus and Gemini and big electric changes are going to happen, don't believe it, because it's not yet. That's not actually going to happen until July 22nd of 2032. And at that point, Uranus and Saturn will be in their great conjunction, which only happens, gosh, I want to say like every 30 years. So it'll be a big deal. It'll be a big deal then. Now, some of these I'm not putting these astrologers down. I have some friends that are tropical astrologers, and they're very, very intuitive. They're very tapped in. They understand. They feel the currents of energy, and they are saying that there is energy of the mind going on right now because Uranus is in Gemini. But I would say that if we're following the actual sky, We're getting mental energy because this is a lunation that started in Gemini and peaks in Sagittarius. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Other announcements, Stellar Foundations. We are meeting on Monday for office hours number 4. This is a highly technical talk that we're going to do. We're talking about transits and predictive astrology and how to do that. And we're going to show you a very structured technique that you can start using immediately in your transit analysis that will help you pull out the information that you need. And the more and more that you do it, the better you will get, and you will not need to use that technique anymore. But I need to show it to you because it's really, really important. Let's see what else. I've been sending emails today to get some podcasts set up for you today. And I have one that's coming later on, but I'm not going to tell you yet until I have the confirmed date, but it's pretty exciting. And then we will have a couple more that I have reached out to today. So I'm looking forward to those people responding to me and setting something up. I want to continue my Modern Magicians series because there's a lot of you out there that are doing amazing work. And I want to feature you. I want you guys to meet these people that I know. They're just brilliant people, and they're doing it. They're doing what we all want to do, and that's just, being mystics and oracles and decoders and astrologers and all of that. So I love highlighting those folks. So let's see who's here. We have 17 already. Ooh, that number shows up in the decode. Let's see if Azteca is here with some fire hearts. Love it. Thank you for coming. Silvana B from Australia. It's pretty, it must be early in the morning there. Good morning to you. Let's see. Azteca is sending us cosmic luck and protection to all the souls in the chat. Let's see. Christine Yan is here. Let's see. Who else is here? Teresa's here. And of course, Lori is here. Sprout Queen is here. Oh my gosh, you guys, you beautiful souls. Thank you so much for being here. I am so excited. I know I haven't been doing lives as often as I did before I left for vacation. I felt a little shift happening in my undercurrent where it feels like something that is more sacred when we all get together. So I'm going to be doing it about once a week. And what you're going to be getting are membership videos and then shorter presentations. Let me know in the comments or in the chat later, or in the comments later in the chat right now, if you guys would prefer this longer format that we do, that's an hour to 2 hours. At least for the lives, we'll keep it that way. But for the videos, would you like shorter, more frequent updates, or do you like these longer sort of in-depth studies that we do? Let me know, because I'm here for you. I want you guys to get this information as easily as possible. I really like kind of getting it all out at once because there's so many subtleties to some of this stuff that we're studying. And I also like to interact with you and get your feedback. So y'all let me know. Let me know what you're thinking. And Common Ground made it to alive. Welcome, welcome. Moonstone Mystic is here. Hi from Atlanta. Thanks for coming. All right, we are up to 21. This is great. So how was everybody's Independence Day that lives in the United States? Mine was pretty good. We had a pretty big storm here in Texas. We were driving from Corpus to north of Houston at the very moment that storm was doing its thing in San Antonio. And we weren't even in it. It barely rained because it was such a compact little storm that just sort of stuck there, erupted, and rained for hours. So we were fine. But some friends of ours that were sort of right in the middle of it, they thankfully lived in the hill country. So they were on hills and they didn't go anywhere. But wow, what a crazy storm, huh? It was so wild. All right, you guys. Yeah, so this presentation will be about the full moon. So let me go ahead and get into this with you. Before I do that, though, I want to show you the sky, the actual sky for this full moon. So we'll do it. Let me share. All right. So yeah, let me know how you guys want to format this going forward. I'm always open to changing what I do if that resonates with you guys. All right, here it is. This is stellarium-web.org. You can go here for free, and you can put in any date you want. Today's the 7th, and the moon is right here near Antares. You can see that if I put the constellation in. So we're about to cross the galactic center with the moon. And this is like my favorite time of the month. It's always so deep. I always get all kinds of downloads and codes and things like that whenever the moon moves through this space. But this is where the moon will be on Thursday, deep in Sagittarius, right here. So there's Capricorn. So you can see I'm not giving you guys a story. The moon is directly in Sagittarius and it's a full moon. Now, if we look to the other side of the sky, we are going to see the sun. Let me take away the landscape. Look at that. There is the sun. This does not look like a Cancer constellation to me. Cancer's over here. That's where Mercury is. And we'll be going retrograde in about 1 week. Here you have the sun here, right in the stars of Pollux and Castor and Alhena. And then, of course, the star, Uranus, is right here, conjunct the Pleiades. Nowhere near Gemini, right? That's where the sun is. Okay, so now that we are all oriented in space and time, let's go ahead and dive into this presentation. This is going to be a quicker presentation than we normally do. Or maybe it won't be. I'm not really sure. I have 101 slides, but I don't imagine that I'll be going that long. So let's just see what this feels like. The July full moon, a wake-up call. So let's do this. All right. Yeah, so this rooster came through when I was just doing some numerology, and you guys will get a kick out of that. But let's first just reflect a little bit on what truth actually is, okay? Because you hear a lot about this in esoteric circles, in philosophical circles. What is truth? There's your truth, there's my truth, there's the truth. How do we discern all of this, and how do we move through this energy? Well, I think basically we just need to understand what truth is. It's composed of 3 different elements. At least my truth is. So the first component of truth is knowledge, right? And where do you get knowledge? You get knowledge from books, you get knowledge from other people, you get knowledge from podcasts, you get knowledge everywhere. And knowledge doesn't necessarily have to be true or false. It's just knowledge. It's just something that somebody found out, figured out, discovered, experimented, and came up with conclusions. So that's what knowledge is. You're going to find that in your books. Now, if you look, knowledge only covers a little bit of the truth. So some of knowledge is truth, and some knowledge is not truth. So just because you know a lot of things doesn't mean you know the truth. It just means you know a lot of things. Some of what you know may actually be true, but not all of it is. And I'm no different. You know, the things that I quote unquote know may or may not be true. Okay. Now, there's also experience. So this comes with age, right? This comes with age and get knocked around a little bit. You get experience. You understand things through a visceral experience, through something that's not taught or read and assimilated. But experience is also only a little bit of the truth. And some experience isn't everybody else's truth either, right? So if I experience something in my body or in my mind, it may or may not be true to you. So if I say I saw a UFO yesterday, I truly experienced that, but you didn't see it. So it's not your truth. Okay. So again, both knowledge and experience touch and mingle with truth, but they're not the full truth. So the final one is wisdom. And this is where Sagittarius, I think, comes in. This is just sort of the combining and the integration of experience and knowledge that helps guide you in your direction. And again, even wisdom doesn't fully encompass the concept of truth. It just touches it a little bit. So you need all of these 3 things, I think, in order to really get at what the truth is. And again, it isn't for everybody because a lot of people's wisdom lives outside this realm of truth. Experience lives outside the realm of truth, and knowledge lives outside the realm of truth. Also, what's true for you and what's true for me may be a fact, but the actual truth is different from our 2 truths. So it's complicated. Truth is a tricky subject, but this axis is about truth and knowledge, where Sagittarius is sort of the truth and wisdom axis, and experience and knowledge are the Gemini axis. All right, so that's the reflection. And what we're going to do first, a lot of my astrology files, they're not necessarily into the numerology part of what I do. So I'm doing that for y'all first. And there will be a timestamp. So if you just want to get the 20, 30 minutes that we go over the astrology for the coming moon, you can do that and skip the rest of it. Okay. But it is super interesting. So you should hang out. All right. Here are the key. Actually, let me go back for a second. So we'll do the full moon astrology, and then I will do some numerology around 7/10 of 2025. Then we will talk about day 191, which is what day of the year that this occurs on. And then we'll talk about the rooster. And then I want to do a little bit of alchemology with you. This was so interesting. I finally got to use ChemSpeller in this decode, so I'll show you how that works. This is the astrology cipher that I use for words. I love phi. This is phi, the golden mean, the golden ratio. It's derived from taking the numbers of the Fibonacci sequence and dividing the smaller one into the bigger one. And after number 13, you get 1.618. And the farther out you go in the Fibonacci sequence, dividing the smaller number by the bigger number, the longer and more irrational the golden ratio becomes. And so what they've done here is simply taken the numbers in the string of digits that make 1.618 and taken it all the way out to the 25th digit and created a cipher around it. Okay, you can find this cipher at decode.co, and you can type in the whatever word you're thinking of, and it will give you a number. And then for cards and tarot and other cool little tips and tricks, you can go to cosmicsugar.org. So full moon astrology. This is for you guys who want to get in and get out. And notice this is slide number 13. Sorry, I got to stick it in there somewhere. All right, here it is. Here is the actual sky. So what you're looking at here on this chart, for those of you that are new to my channel and maybe have never seen a constellational astrology chart, this is a slice of the sky that we just looked at. So that three-dimensional stellosphere that is all around you in all directions, this is that two-dimensional slice through the sun's ecliptic, which is why we care about these particular signs or constellations. And tropical astrology is about 24 degrees off. So when I pointed out earlier that a lot of really smart and intuitive astrologers are telling you that Uranus is now in Gemini, you can see it is not. It's nowhere near there. It won't even get close to this until 2032. And at that point, Saturn will have made its conjunction with Uranus. So we have 7 years to go before that actual ingress happens. We're here. We're in the meat of it. And we're conjunct the Pleiades, which is still pretty amazing. I mean, the Pleiades are a star cluster that's could potentially be one of our binary stars. There's definitely some cosmic downloads, galactic federation type stuff that comes from the Pleiades, and Uranus is right there. And so we're getting cosmic downloads with Uranus being there. And being in Taurus, we're being asked to ground that into the earth. So that's just one thing I wanted to point out. But you can see here's the sun right here near Sirius. And then the moon is over here in Sagittarius, just like we saw in the sky. So, Sun in Gemini. You guys should be used to this feeling by now. We've been through Gemini for a couple of weeks. This is all about the mind. It's about creativity. It's about interacting with your local environment. It's about learning and knowledge. For me, in my readings, it's also the space in time and the space in the sky where we get our deep-seated programming of beliefs. And why does that happen? Well, think about when you're a young person and you're in school and you're away from your parents, and now you're getting all this information and feedback from the children around you, your teachers, your friends. All these people are just giving you all this information. And all of a sudden, as you get a little bit older, you begin to believe that the knowledge that you've been given outside of your home is the truth. And that programming is the hardest programming to undo. But here's the thing, it's not always inappropriate programming, but sometimes it can be. So if you've got weird patterns or weird thoughts or weird beliefs, if you've got the insight to notice that in yourself, look in your Gemini. Where do your beliefs come from? And this may be where you can look. And so here we're getting this full reflection of the sun's light from the moon, shining back from the stars of truth of Sagittarius. This is faith. This is optimism. This is belief in something higher than yourself. This is ruled by Jupiter, and then Sun actually is with Jupiter. So there's a reflection energy of abundance, of generosity, of joyfulness. This is a joyful moon. So if you guys are feeling into that, that's why. I don't know if the tropical astrologers are attributing that to Cancer and Capricorn. To me, it just seems this seems like a more intense axis rather than this. This is more playful and more fun. But this is also a wake-up call, you guys, because when this truth comes in, when this knowledge comes in, when this wisdom comes in, when this experience comes in, we may, as a collective, experience something shocking. There's quite a few squares in this moon. Okay, so while we feel good now as this moon is swelling and expanding and going through our favorite stars, we need to be ready for something that might kind of knock us off our feet a little bit. If you've been doing the work, you may simply go, I knew that all along. Like, that's not a surprise to me. But understand that there are many, 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 many in our collective that don't know this yet, that have not unprogrammed their inappropriate programming. That when a truth comes, it will literally like rupture their quote unquote truth. Okay. And it was just so interesting that a rooster showed up when I was trying to put this numerology together. Let's move on to some of the aspects to the moon and sun. The lunar nodes, the north node and the south node, are now in brand new signs. Okay. So this should also feel pretty good. We've been going through 2 to 3 years of these eclipses with the lunar nodes with some very deep, very heavy, very traumatic energies that we've been working through, using spirit to kind of help us like integrate and move that through. The collective as a whole has been dealing with this. One of my good astrologer friends, Julie Sherwood, has always said from the beginning that this is about healing the maternal mother line. The matriarchal line, the mitochondrial DNA that has all these ancient traumas and wounds hidden in here, and Black Moon Lilith's there right now, right? That suppressed feminine energy. But now we get to remember. We get to so the South Node will have us remembering the joy, remembering the innocence, remembering our true connection to spirit, while the North Node is now in Aquarius. So this should feel like a breath of fresh air. A looking forward to the future and the possibilities that are available to us. So I like this because Sun and Moon are doing a trine sextile action to both nodes. So Moon is doing sextile and trine, and Sun is doing trine and sextile. And so this is like a box of destiny here. They're nice aspects. They help us flow into this energy. So we're going to get a really nice boost, I think, as well, if we're focusing on the energy of destiny and karma. So that's nice. Let's see. Moon is making a Phoenix angle to Venus. Now, this is really quick. This is only a couple of hours because the Phoenix angle window is very small. I only give it 1 degree of orb. So you're not going to see it as lasting for a couple of days. It's only a few hours. But here's where there's almost a shock to the system, right? So a shock of truth is coming through to Venus in Taurus. And why do I say shock? Well, if you guys have not seen my videos on this particular angle, where I got it from and why, just understand that it is a numerologically derived angle. It comes from pi and phi and the fine structure constant. This angle in itself, while the trine is 120 degrees, this is 137.5 degrees. So there's an element of the underlying code. There's also an element of being sort of shocked into it. There's opportunities here for synchronicities to come through. There's opportunity for aha moments. But because Venus is in Taurus, this is her home, Moon is in the sign of truth and wisdom, some sort of truth or wisdom may come through, either in a synchronicity or in a shock to the body. It just depends on where you're at. Okay, so that's where the astrology's at, and wherever you're vibrating, it will meet you there. This one is a little bit longer, maybe a day or so. This is Asteroid Lilith. Asteroid Lilith is not Black Moon Lilith. Asteroid Lilith is the actual asteroid in the asteroid belt. Her energy shows us physically where we are connected with our intuition. Okay, so nervous system, that's where she is right now. And so if your nervous system is feeling a little frazzled and fried right now, this is why, because asteroid Lilith is speaking through your body through the energy of Aquarius. She's also making a Phoenix angle to the sun. So Aquarius and Gemini, they're both air signs. So this feels like you're going to be able to finally articulate something that's been encoded and only understood as a concept. So perhaps a shock to the system, perhaps some synchronicities that come through, as well as words for that synchronicity. Now, the words that come may be a little bit ahead of their time, but keep saying them because this is coming from our collective intuition. So, and intuition is usually our truth. So the collective intuition, whatever the collective is in general feeling, is the truth of this moment. Okay. Then we have Venus in a square to asteroid Lilith. Okay. So what I want to do now is just read for you guys a quick passage from this work that I'm putting together. It is called The Venus Frequency. It is going to be a book, an astrology book, that I hope you guys will check out once I'm done. But it's so incredible. So here's the story. So I wrote this chapter, and then I did a reading with somebody who had a lot of Lilith. And it stunned me. It floored me. I was like, holy smokes, this lady literally needs what I just wrote for her. So she was the second person to hear this. And you guys will be the third. Let me get it up real quick. I should have had it ready. Sorry, y'all. R1 66 dash AD. Okay. I think I just gave you my password. All right. So let's see. Of course, I can't find it while I'm looking for it. Oh, here it is. Okay. Actually, you guys might be the fourth because I think I shared this with someone. So okay, so here's the aspect we're looking at. So Venus is making a square with asteroid Lilith. Okay, so here's what I have. This suggests that the body's intuitive voice often clashes with the desire to be pleased or accepted. So the person may sense what is true through physical signals, tightness, pleasure, unease, but feel unable to act upon it without guilt or doubt. So where does guilt and doubt come from, right? Doesn't it come from this energy, from this programming that we get in Gemini? Because we're taught that things are appropriate or inappropriate, and we move through our life with that belief. So this can lead to cycles of disconnection, especially in love or creative work. Over time, however, this aspect can become a powerful teacher. It forces the individual to return to the body again and again until they can no longer betray what they feel. So when honored, this placement becomes a fierce kind of integrity. The person learns to listen to the body as a sacred source of guidance, even when that guidance disrupts the status quo. So here it is. You guys can take this in, you can get your nervous system jolts and feel frazzled in your nervous system because you're not saying what's on your freaking mind, or you can bravely say it and know that the stars support you. Okay, so this is big. This is a really interesting angle. And it's a square. So what I'm trying to tell you is that if your nervous system feels overloaded, tap into your truth. Why are you suppressing it? Say it. Become it. Sing it. Okay, that's what's going to be the best way to constructively work with a square like this during this lunation. That's not the only square, y'all. We have a T-square, well, almost a T-square. Okay, and it's a T-square between Black Moon Lilith, Chiron, and Pluto. Now, for those of you that kind of, geek out on all of this, you can probably see how this can be a very tough energy, especially if the ego is involved, right? So if we are being egoic, if we are saying this is all about me and what I need to achieve right here, ego. if we're in that ego place and we don't even realize that, some really powerful healing is going to come through, or we're going to be reminded of traumas. And we're also going to be reminded of what's been outcast. This is Black Moon Lilith. What's been shunned, what's been banished because of how it feels. So if the ego is the stronger force in your field, then it's going to be very unpleasant. You're going to have something kind of trigger you, and you may feel like you're banished, like you're outcast. But I promise you, because Pluto's involved, it's the best thing for you. You will literally look back on this lunation a year from now and be like, oh my God, Dr. Danny, you were right. I understand it now. But how can we use this constructively, right? So this could be, so Chiron is not only your wounds, okay? So you don't have to deal with wounds here. This is where you're great also. This is your greatness. And the collective's greatness is its true connection to spirit. And what is the collective Lilith? Well, I think it's what we can't say. It's what we want to say, but what we can't say. And so your greatness is feeling like it can't be heard. But Pluto is so powerful, right? This is power. That if you said it, you'd be okay. So don't be afraid here. Don't be afraid to feel into this, whatever this means for you. To help you figure that out, you may want to look where the Pisces and Virgo aspect is in your chart. If there's stuff conjunct to so for me, for example, I have Uranus and Chiron on this axis. I have Uranus over here in my natal chart, and I've got a Chiron return. So it's literally about being banished for being weird. That's what's in my chart, the Chiron opposing Uranus. And so what can I say that's been left unsaid? How will that give me the power I need to overcome my egoic structures? And so that's probably what I'll be working on with this particular square. All right. Now, Mars. Mars is also very much involved in this lunation because Mars is moving this way in the chart, and your south node is moving this way in the chart. They're on a collision course for one another. And Mars is making a Phoenix angle to Chiron. So what's the synchronicity? What's the aha moment we're going to feel here? Well, Mars is normally a very playful, very happy, very energetic energy in Leo, but we're approaching our south node. And the south node tends to be where we lose energy, where things get diffuse, where things leave our grasp. We can't grasp onto this energy, okay? And so as Mars gets closer and closer to that south node, we might be feeling like we're losing our mojo and not really understand why. So it may be that we need to look to our greatness, or to look to our healing, or to look to others' healings for support for this angle right here. So as Mars runs to this, I think also what's happening is that this new axis of the nodes, I almost see Mars as the fire at the end of the fuse. So like if you had let's say you had a firecracker right here, right? And you got this wick. Mars is the match, right? Mars is coming towards the south node, which is right here, south node. And as soon as Mars gets close to this, right? There's a rush of energy, a rush of information, a rush of action, perhaps, towards this collective destiny. I don't know what that means for the collective. For personal individuals, if the nodes are close to where your nodes are, or you've got Sun or Mars or something important on this axis, you may feel this explosive energy. So Mars is going to feel like he wants to burn and burn hard and burn fast. But because the south node's there may be, you may not be able to. Or the fuse might be lit and then there's nothing you can do. You just have to watch it. There's no action you can take. You're just going to kind of watch it out of pure fascination, out of pure interest, out of pure entertainment. Okay. That may be the way to react to any fuses that are set off, so to speak, in our collective energies. So yeah, got to watch that. Now, This is where we get into a little bit of coding. Mars lights the fuse. It gave me a number 78, which meant for me that I needed to look at the tarot. So I just wanted to share that with you right there. And then here's a really nice aspect that involves the Liliths. So I just wrote this 6,000 word chapter on Venus and Lilith. And here is Black Moon Lilith and Asteroid Lilith in a grand trine with Jupiter in Gemini, right? The very axis where the sun and the moon are playing out their monthly journey. This is a longer aspect that feels way more supportive towards speaking your truth, right? What sort of mitochondrial, maternal, ancestral energy is coming through for you, whether you're male or female. Even men have mitochondrial DNA, and that comes from their mother line. And this is the energy that's banished, that's too dark to be in the light. So how does that work with Jupiter? Well, Jupiter is in Gemini, wanting to learn, wanting to understand, wanting to open up, wanting to be generous with knowledge, wanting to bring people together to talk about it. So it may be a really supportive energy for you to literally speak your intuitive truth. And Jupiter will bless that energy. And so will the unseen energy. This is very powerful right here. This is probably more powerful than Pluto, I would say, Black Moon Lilith. Because when I think of her energy, I think of the quantum foam. I think of the ether, the space of potentials where things are not yet created, right? Think of chaos, Nyx, the void, creation springing out of nothing without seed. This is literally Black Moon Lilith, and it's way more powerful because it's simply intention that she creates from. It's just when she is blocked and suppressed and banished, she comes back angry. She comes back, kind of boiling over the top. And so it's a really important lunation to be very, very sensitive to this energy. And your intuition will thank you as well. And you will have the words to share it. That's what's so special about this lunation, okay? So I love this trine. I think this is what we should focus on and understand that we'll be watching a lot of these other squares playing out for people that are not connected to are not friends with their ego, that are not healed, that are hiding their pain, people that are suppressing their creative energy. They're going to feel this tension more than those of us who are more willing to open up and to talk about it and think about it. Okay. All right. Jupiter, Asteroid Lilith, and Black Moon Lilith are 137 if you say them all together. So 137 is that Phoenix angle. Okay. That's 137.5 degrees. It's also the fine structure constant. 1/137.03 is the fine structure constant, which is a super important number. It shows up everywhere when you talk about electrons, protons, neutrons, and quarks. Here's the best way to understand the fine structure constant. If you add energy to a atom that's got, its nucleus and its electrons, it will not emit a photon until 137 times its original energy is added to it. So when you add 137 times its energy to that particular atom, then it will emit a photon. Otherwise, it'll just reflect it or absorb it. And they find this number everywhere. So by this number popping up with this trine configuration, it tells me that this is where we should focus on if we want to smooth through this moon very nicely and not really worry about all the ego drama that's going on in the world. One more really awesome and supportive structure that we'll find in the sky is going to be with us for quite a while. And this is also another energy that you can focus on. Powerful Pluto, Neptune and Saturn, the devoted disciples, and the spark of your divine individuality. Okay. This is all in a trine, sextile energy. It's like a stellar basket of all the OGs literally cheering you on. It's like having your parents at your recital or at your game. Okay. They're watching us. They're seeing what we're doing. And these are much better energies to focus on than the quicker, scarier mental energies that people are trying to program you to believe. Okay. What does this require to tap into this? it simply requires you to not react, to just embody your true self and to understand that wisdom comes from within. You are part of source. You are source. And when you go in and you shut out the outside world, you're connecting to this supportive energy. So for those of you that are astrology lovers, that concludes the astrology part of it. I hope the rest of you stick around and listen to this decode because it was really fun to do. And I absolutely enjoy sharing this with you all. So do you guys have any questions before I roll into the numerology part of it? I just want to make sure everybody understands what we've been looking at. And I can think about it with y'all a little bit. All right. All right, let's see. Vesteka says, you did say don't poke back. And it looks like you guys are cool with whatever I want to dish out on my channel, which is great. I appreciate y'all. And it'll change. I mean, as you know, as my lifestyle evolves and as my work evolves, I'll probably do things differently. It's always a learning process. So I'm always trying to improve and get better. Good. All right. So you guys are good with that astrology. Lori says, so good. Can't wait for the book. Yeah. Well, so now I have to do the hard part of the book for the Venus frequencies. I've done most of the astrology part of it. So as a reference manual. So when you have any, like literally any Venus aspect, natal or transiting, I've covered it. I've covered it in that book so that you can read it, understand it. And then whatever's happening to you that day, you can go back in the book and look. But the front part of the book, the sort of the foundation for which we want to use this astrology, there's some historical stuff. And that to me is the hardest part because that's the one that takes the most research and the most references. And that's a lot of work and the driest part of the material. So, I'll get through that. And by then I'll be cooking with gas. So let's see who else. New Dawn 144 says, hi, Dr. Danny. Thank you. Hi, Chop. All right, good guys. You guys are good. So I will let's get into the decode. This will be fun. Share screen, share. Hide. PowerPoint. Okay. All right. So July 10th, 2025. If you put that if you add up all the digits for that date, 7102025, you get the number 17. That's the exact number of people that we started this live stream with. So that's pretty cool. The number 17, if you take pi, oh, by the way, did you notice the time we started 413 or 413, 314? I did that on purpose. Not because I had something to do until 413. It's just I like that the timestamps resonate with the numerology. 17 appears at the 138th decimal digit of pi. And I like using that number too, along with 137, because in numerology, numbers are not, they're just labels for a frequency. And 137 and 138 are the same frequency. And the angle that we use, that the Phoenix angle in these charts is 137.5. And so that fuzziness around that particular number encompasses 138. So it's at the 138th decimal digit of pi. So if you go to at.PM and you put that number in and you click on, I want to know where it is in pi, it'll tell you exactly where it is. The 1 and the 7, 137 and 138 right there. And it's all the numbers after the digit, after the decimal place. Well, okay, that's pretty cool. It ties into the Phoenix angle. It ties into the fine structure constant. But it also appears at the 35th decimal digit of golden ratio. So you can do pi or phi on Sagittarius.com, and it will give you the 34th and the 35th digit. Well, okay, so I can see why you did 138, but why did you do 35? Well, that's where the alchemy comes into it. Okay, so I will show you some alchemy and some words that come up with 35. Here it is, chlorine. Chlorine is not only 35 in its atomic mass here, but it's also its atomic number is 17. So phi ties this element together on this particular date. I just find that so fascinating. You know, these are coincidences, but when I show you all the coincidences, what you will see are synchronicities in the field. And so when you walk away from this presentation this week, I guarantee y'all are going to see the number 17 and 35. Why is 35 important? Well, if you look at bromine, which is another halogen energy, its boiling point or melting point, I think it's its boiling point, is 137.8. So again, another number in that range between 137 and 138. And its atomic mass or atomic number is 35, which is chlorine's atomic weight, 35. Okay, so look at that. Isn't that amazing? Like you wouldn't see this if you weren't looking for it. But this is where synchronicities come from. So if you're seeing synchronicities, the reason you're seeing that is because everything is coded. The entire universe is made of ones and zeros. And we are here to decode that, to see what it all means and how things are tied together. And Christine, yeah, and you just brought up a great point too. The star card in the tarot is the 17th card. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So 137.8. Slide 33, Jupiter, asteroid Lilith, and black moon Lilith are 137. And 33 is pi and phi in the phi cipher. So we use these two string of digits to get to see what 17 gave us. And that, of course, is connected to the number 33, which is a master number. It's also my life path number, which reduces to a 6. But they say 33 is master teacher. And the number 33, the 33rd prime, is 137. I just find this so fast. Isn't this stunning? It's like we've got this full moon energy, and the numbers that I have been working with literally tell us to focus on Jupiter, asteroid Lilith, and black moon Lilith. That grand trine, speaking our truth and allowing the beautiful, generous, and abundant energy of Jupiter to hold our space, along with the other larger planets. I thought it was very interesting that fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, and astatine, as well as TS, which is a rarer element, they're all in the group of halogens. And this is freaking group 17 in the periodic table. So if you go to the Royal Society of Chemistry and you play with some of the filters and you look at group 17, you get all of these elements here. And we've already looked at bromine and chlorine, because chlorine is 17 and 35 and bromine melts or boils at 137. But check this out. So black moon Lilith, if you just use the initials, is 19, which is fluorine, which is right here. That's its atomic mass, 19. So group 17 is speaking to us. The number 17 with the date is here on chlorine. And then, of course, bromine is here. All right, so that was that, the halogens. Day 191. So because we got the number 78 when I put Mars lights the fuse in there, I said, okay, let me go ahead and use the tarot reduction to get a number that we can work with. Watch this, y'all. This is, you can't make this up. This is crazy. If you take 78 away twice, you get 35. Boom. Okay. Wow. All right. So even the day of the year, the numerology bears out to 35. The 35th card in the tarot deck is the Queen of Wands. Look at this woman here. Okay. This is very much Black Moon Lilith energy and Lilith energy, right? This is a queen that is embodied. She's comfortable in her skin. She's got her legs spread. She's probably also going commando there. She's got her black cat and her wand, which is her magic. So there she is. This is literally that Black Moon Lilith, Jupiter, kingly, royalty energy, all in this one card. Moon is 35 and Lilith is also 35. Now, in the playing cards, in the cards of illumination, I thought this was really interesting. I mean, you could go to the Queen of Clubs and look at that. But the 35th card in that deck, I thought I should stick with the cards and their numbers, is the 9 of diamonds. And this is my life path card. So if you go to it'sallinthecards.com, you put in August 4th, this card will show up. And this is the card of being generous, of giving of your resources, Jupiter's generosity, okay? And that card is also 35, which is very interesting. Now, the tarot card that corresponds to the 9 of diamonds is the 9 of pentacles, another feminine energy. It's like all the feminine cards of the tarot were coming up for me. And look at this lady. She's literally an independent woman. She's got her bird, she's got her money, she's got her garden, she's got her beautiful gowns, very independent energy. So then what happened is I said, okay, I was going through some numerology, putting it in the ciphers, trying to see what would come up. And I went ahead and I did if you go to numberempire.com, you can put in any number and it'll give you this readout. It'll tell you what the number is, if it's a prime, if it's, what prime it is, and so on and so on. And 73 is a prime number. So I said, let me see which prime it is. It's the 21st prime. Okay. Y'all remember Pi Phi? Let's go back a couple slides. Oops. So if you go here, you look at that. Oh, I went back real far. Phi is 21. Okay. So 73 is the 21st prime number. And then I said, all right, a couple of things were coming up that were reversals of the numbers or mirror images of the numbers. So I went ahead and I said, okay, well, I got the reversal of this number is also a prime. Okay. So I said, all right, that's cool. And I got this. I got 21 and 12. So that is pi and phi, literally. And why is 37 important? Well, some of the words I came up with, spirals, which is the phi spiral, is 37. So when we're dealing with astrology, we're dealing with these cycles of heaven, and they're not circles. That birth chart should be represented as a spiral, I think. I don't know if I can make that visually pleasing for anybody, but really the journey you're on is a spiral. It's not a circle. The cycles you're doing are not completing a loop. They're overshooting that and evolving upward and outward. So spirals are a big deal. And since this is my birth card, I went ahead and I put in Dr. Danny, and it happens to be 37 also. So 21 and 12 are also mirrors of each other, just like 37 and 73. And that's fascinating in and of itself, whether or not you care about the astrology. But that's interesting that one prime number's reversed or mirrored number also is reversed when you're talking about which prime it is. And then pi and phi, of course, are 33, which is that master number. Now, 35 appears at the 56th decimal digit of the golden phi ratio. Okay. 56. That's a new number. Why do you keep putting all these new numbers in here? Well, this is a pretty go-to number for me because barium, the 56th element in our periodic table, has an atomic mass of 137, the fine structure constant. Okay. So there it is. There's some beautiful numerology just to show you how all these things are connected. And of course, 33. The 33rd prime is 137. And then bro means melting point. All right. Now I did promise you rooster energy. Now this was so amazing. I loved this because of the that whole Gemini Sagittarius axis, some information is coming in, some truth is coming in, knowledge and or experience is coming in that is going to wake us up a little bit. What does the rooster do? It wakes you up. It tells you that the dawn is coming. Now they crow at other times of the day, but typically they're known for their morning crowing. And the birth card for 7/10 of 2025 is the 5 of diamonds. Okay, that is the 31st card, and its equivalent in the tarot deck is the 5 of pentacles. This looks like a pretty miserable card, doesn't it? Like wake-up calls are not always nice. They feel like they're a shock to the system. They feel uncomfortable because it's something new that we have to assimilate and integrate and deal with and change. Change is hard. Then I went to the periodic table, and both of those numbers are in gallium. The freaking rooster. It's like, okay, cock-a-doodle-doo. Let's wake up, right? So there it is. That was amazing to me. Let's see, what else did I put in here? Oh, I went ahead and I said, okay, properties of 31. It's the 11th prime. And then I said, let me do the mirror again, because I know that 13 and 31 are also mirrors of one another. What's prime number is 13? Well, it's the 6th prime. Are you number files doing it yet? Are you seeing what I'm seeing? That's right. 11 plus 16 is 17. And of course, 13 is 33 when you put it in the phi cipher. But isn't that interesting? So the card for the day, its prime number energy, forward and backwards, equal the numerology of the day, 7102025, through the phi cipher. 13 is 33. Wake up is 17. Truth is 17. And then wake up calls, if you pluralize it, just happens to be 35. So maybe we're in for more than one. And then here's the mirror image of 17, which is 71. I didn't even plan that. I just saw that. So you see how beautiful this is? Do you see why I love doing this work and getting together with you guys and sharing this with you? And it was so non-linear the way this code came together. I literally just did all my Dakota stuff. Then I did all my periodic table stuff. And then I did all my Sabidium. And then I just left it for a few days. And then when I came back to look at it, it all just click, 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 click. So, and of course, we don't want to forget that 35 is Moon, is Lilith, is my birth card, is the day's card. Now, here's the last proof. And I have know and wise to represent knowledge and wisdom. So we have potassium, nobelium, tungsten, iodine, and selenium. So let's see what happens here. So at first I went ahead and I put knowledge and wisdom into the phi cipher. I got 108, which is cool because it's part of the star geometry. But it really didn't take me anywhere that was interesting. There were some interesting things, but nothing that was related necessarily to this, with the exception of eliminating the 0, which has infinite potential. In numerology, you can do that. And we get card 18, which is the moon. Okay. So again, we're talking about a full moon. So that seemed really appropriate to me. I said, all right, cool. Let's put that in there. And of course, moon is 35 in the phi cipher. And so I went ahead and I went to chemspeller.com and I typed in knowledge. And what it will do is it will spell the word, but if it doesn't have actual elements for you, it'll give you like an electron and it'll be worth 0. So I just went ahead with the root word, to know, and then wise. So these chemicals will spell these words, to know and wise. And that's ultimately what we're trying to do, right? We're trying to gather knowledge so that we can become wise and we can know our truth. And this is, of course, slide number 78. So know and wise. Let's get into this. This is super interesting. I'll start with wise. Oh, and roosters is 44, and so is knowledge. The first element is tungsten. Now, what we're going to do here is look at the images and use the numbers. So first we have this light bulb, which is so appropriate for this astrology energy that we're dealing with. It's like an aha moment. It's like all of a sudden the lights are on. And, W for wisdom. And shout out to Logan of Decode Your Reality, because he associates this with the sun and the serpentine path it takes. If you take the same picture every month over the course of 13 months, you get this shape, which is basically a W. And you can tie that to the zodiac too. So that's really interesting. But for our purposes, this is a light bulb just kind of going off and saying, aha, okay, this is the source. And then I is iodine. Now, do you guys remember what we just looked at in group 17? You saw that, right? This is also the mirror of 35. And it's right here. It's the next element in the row. It's number 53. So again, another halogen shows up for wisdom. And then selenium, element number 34. Excuse me, that's related to the moon. We're talking about a full moon. Okay, so all of that was like, yep, hit. Okay, good. Those all work for me. I like using them. Let's look at no. So the first letter is potassium. And look at that. That is like a pill, like you're swallowing a pill. Red pill, blue pill, black pill, white pill. You know, some kind of energy that also awakens you, right? It's either a flash of light or something's given to you that awakens you. Some sort of knowledge comes to you. And 19 is also Black Moon Lilith. Nobelium. This is another interesting energy. This seems very futuristic to me. So I just went ahead and I put this up here because I think it's very interesting. It's named after the Alfred Nobel, and it's a Japanese ideograph or virtue word. It has various meanings, including master teacher and noble. So it's a pun on the origin of the element's name. The background features imagery suggestive of particle trails like those produced when radiation passes through a cloud chamber. So there you go. It's the smartest guy. When you win a Nobel Prize, you're considered pretty darn smart. Okay, like if you get the Nobel Prize, you're a smart person. So virtue, master teacher, noble, nobelium, all associated with this energy of Sagittarius and Gemini. And then we get tungsten again. So it's like the red pill and the information cause light bulbs to go off. And then you connect with these halogen energies and the moon. And of course, they're tied together with the W. And tungsten is 31, which was the card number for the 5 of Pentacles, or the 5 of Diamonds, which was the card for July 10th. So that's interesting. There it is. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? All right, here's the last and final part of it that I think you guys will love. This is so amazing. Here we go. It's the numbers. So I'm adding up the atomic numbers on this side for Ys, and then I'm going to add up the atomic masses, and I'm using this, and this to add these together. And then I'm going to do the same thing for no, and its atomic numbers add up to 195, and its atomic masses, again, I'm using this, and this, and that gives me 480. Okay, I have numbers. So what in the world do I do with these numbers? Well, I added them all together, and I got a stunning number. You guys aren't going to believe this. I mean, I don't even know. I probably shouldn't even show you. I'm going to show you. Here we go. Is 1225. Now, for those of you who don't know math, you're going to be like, big whoop. I don't care. However, if you take the square root of this number, and I encourage you to do it in your calculators, 35 squared is 1225. So if you take 35 and multiply it by 35, you get 1225. So 35 squared is 1225. Bam. I rest my case. And I think that's it. I think that's all the decode I have for y'all. So let me see. Where are we at? Yep, that's it. And thanks, of course, is 35. So here's where you can go if you want to be a decoder. My software is Capricorn Prometheus. ChemSpeller is where we spell no and wise. The Royal Chemistry Society is interactive and fun. And then, of course, Sabidium is where you can get the string of digits. Number Empire is where you can get the properties of the digits. And then don't forget Source, because that's your ultimate resource when you're not sure. Okay. Cool. Well, that concludes that part of the presentation. I'm going to hang out and answer some questions with you guys if you want to. You don't have to, but, we only went an hour. So, oh, yay, Christine. Thank you for the BAMs. I appreciate it. That was a good one. That was fun. Vasteca asked me what the numerology on head and brain were. Would you like me to do it in the Phi cipher? Let me see. That's a good question. I probably ought to just do my process live one day, although it can take a while. Head. So head is 18 in the phi cipher, and brain is 27. So head, brain together is 54. We do head and brain, we get 71. Let's see, head and brain and brain. Oh, I did that wrong. Brain. Yeah, I'm getting 36 in Chaldean, and I'm getting 62 in the phi cipher. And then head is 18 and brain is 27. Yeah, see, what you guys don't see is the trails that go cold, you know. My when I have all of the data for the decode, it's like way too much. Not all of it's connected. And sometimes I will throw things out if they don't make a connection, like they don't make the cut. And then sometimes things will come up as I'm doing it that fit perfectly. So it can take a while. But yeah. So head and brain, they're both 9. Best I guess Lilith is the Queen of Wands. And let me sneak under that robe real quick. Cool. Cool. Oh yeah, 36 is 9 also. You're correct. Isn't numerology fun? Yeah. All right. So what are you guys going to do for this full moon? Does anybody have any big plans? Anything exciting? All right, let me take that out. All right. Let's see. I saw Julie here. I think I did. Julie. All right. Good. Well, you guys seem like you are not very inquisitive this afternoon, so that's all right. I will be releasing a video later this week for the Pluto sun cycle. It's a continuation of the previous studies that we've done on Uranus and Sun, Jupiter and Sun, and then Saturn and Neptune with Sun. So what I'll be doing is I'm giving the general public a lot of it. You're going to get everything up to and including the Sun-Pluto opposition that's happening next week. So I am giving you all of that up to that point. And then after that, all of the future angles are going to be in the membership only. So that's another thing, guys. If you want to join our monthly calls, we're going to do that before every new moon. So on or around the new moon, we will get together and talk about the next lunation. So if you guys want to join us, please consider getting a membership to my channel. It's really cheap. I didn't want to charge you guys a ton of money. And also you guys will get a special discount. So if you look at the members posts in the community section, there's a discount code for you guys to get 13% off of my readings. So that basically pays for the membership itself. And it's nice because when you guys are on that call with me, you can interact, you can ask me questions, things like that. So yeah, consider doing that. And then if you need a reading, my links are below. If you want to learn some astrology, you can go to learn.drdanny.com. I have single individual courses that you can take if there's something that you want to brush up on. And then we will be starting Stellar Foundations again in September. So I'm excited about that. All right, Lisa Rangel's here. She says, been working, so we'll listen and watch the replay. I tried to listen when you started, but got busy. That's okay. That's okay. We're here, and that's what replays are for. So, all right. Well, with that, I will leave y'all. I love y'all so much. Thank you for your time and attention, and I appreciate you, and I'm so grateful that you're in my life, and I will see you guys next time. All right. Let's put the book commercial in, and I'll see you all on the next live.